Hi guys, I'm Hayden Crawford from Numerologist.com and I'm a wellness coach specialising in colour therapy. Today we're going to be exploring the 5 generations of Indigos so that you can work out exactly which one you are. Larger numbers of Indigos started arriving on the planet at the end of World War II, and this was after the atomic bomb went off. They'd heard the calling that Earth was in danger and that souls needed to come in to help with this quite tumultuous time. Now, over the years, there's actually been 5 generations of Indigos that have come in, and each one of those has got various different ailments and symptoms that they have had to endure or learn to live with. And actually they've come in with different coloured auras as well. As we know from my previous video, Indigos are given their name because when their auric system is photographed with Kirlian photography, it appears in a specific range of colours. The very first Indigos to arrive were known as the Alpha Generation Indigos, and they started manifesting up until around about 1968 from the end of World War II. Now they struggled the most out of all of the different generations of Indigos because they had to kind of pre-pave the way for future generations and actually had to do the hard yards. They were horrified by all of the war and violence on the planet that they found. They felt very suicidal and had an inner yearning to just go home. They always felt really out of place. So these are the baby boomers, and their auric overlays were blue, violet, green in colour, but also some had like a tan camouflage. They had their Saturn return awakening around about the age of 28, and this is when they kind of woke up to their sole purpose and the work that they actually came here to do, irrespective of what they might have been doing previously. So were you one of the Alpha Generation Indigos? I was part of the next wave. I was born in 1972, and these souls started incarnating between 1968 and 1978, having their Saturn return awakening between 1996 and 2006 at roughly the age of 28. Now I can remember what was happening for me during that time. It was the very first time I'd come to Australia, and I was left to stand on my own 2 feet and started reading the tarot cards as a way of being able to make money. What was happening for you during that time? Now, the difference between the Beta Generation Indigos and the Alpha Generation Indigos is that they didn't have this tan camouflage. Their auric system was blue, violet, green, but they didn't have this camouflage, which actually enabled the Alpha Generation Indigos to be able to learn in more of a linear kind of process-driven way. This next wave of Indigos, the Beta Generation Indigos, actually learned in very, very different ways and weren't so process orientated. Were you born between 1978 and 1988? Well, then you're known as a Gamma Generation Indigo. They're quite different from the previous 2 generations in the fact that they had very few overlays to their aura. And if they did, they would most probably be violet, although there is some cases of them having either crystal or octarine coloured overlays. They were the first ones to have these early childhood symptoms of ADD or ADHD, which was obviously a wrong diagnosis. And a lot of them were kind of ushered into taking Ritalin as a way to be able to overcome these terrible symptoms. But actually it had a very poor effect on their well-being. Now they had their Saturn return between the years of 2006 and 2016. If you came in between 1988 and 1998, then you may be a Delta Generation Indigo, otherwise known as the pure ones because they had no overlays on the aura at all. They were pure Indigo. If they did have an overlay, then it was more likely to be either crystal or octarine, otherwise known as the chameleonic colours. Now, if these people weren't treated correctly during their early years, they would have really severe cases of ADD and ADHD. And if they were allowed to take prescription medication, or they started taking drugs or drinking too much alcohol, it unfortunately may have led to suicide for a few of these. Now they need grounding, that's one of their biggest things. So to use slow wavelengths and frequencies in the form of rich deep reds or burnt oranges, it can be extremely beneficial to keep them kind of grounded in their physical bodies. They would have their Saturn return awakening between 2016 and 2026, around about the age of 28. And this is where they would discover what they were here to do. And in fact, for a lot of these crystal children, they're actually here to just be rather than to do. Last but by no means least are the Omega generation Indigos, and they're born between 1998 and 2008. And then they faced very similar dilemmas to the Delta generation. They also don't have any overlays to their aura, so they are a beautiful indigo auric system. And they really have the most incredible family lives. For them, they choose functional families and often have indigo parents, or they might even be reincarnated indigos themselves from deceased alpha or beta generation indigos. During their Saturn return, which is between 2026 and 2036, this is where they get to embark upon their soul work, and I can't wait to see exactly the work that they're going to be doing. Now again, they really do resonate with keeping, sort of their bodies grounded, so they need to have that red energy around them to be able to give them that activity, energy and mobility and dynamism that they need to be able to sort of surge forward into the golden age of Aquarius. Look, this isn't by any means conclusive. These are just more popular times that these different waves of generations came in to do their work. If you fall outside of that for any reason, don't think that you're not one and that you're not here for a special purpose. Of course, we all are. Now remember to subscribe to the channel and also watch my next video. I'll be back very soon with some more helpful insights. So I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.